Hello, vinyl community and everyone else. I went to my local record store today. Local being, like 45-minute drive or more. And I think had a pretty good day there. And I definitely did it on a budget, so I thought I would make a recent finds video. But I've been doing so many of these sorts of videos between these and thrift store videos. I'm thinking of branching out and maybe doing some sort of album reviews, but not the typical album review. Maybe more about reissues and how they sound and things like that. I'm not really sure yet. I'll talk a little more about that maybe later on in this video as I get to the end where I left a few albums that I'm considering doing that with. Because I think you guys must be getting bored, the ones that are still watching me. Although I'm getting new subscribers, thank you all, and shout outs to everyone, by the way. Again, I'm not going to mention your name, but thank you all. You all know who you are. Thank you for leaving comments and watching, and I've been enjoying watching your videos as always. Keep making them, and anyway, I might be branching out a little bit, maybe once a week or something like that. And again, I'll talk, sorry, my nose really itches. I'll talk a little more about that as we get on. But anyway, at my local record store, I averaged about $3.50 an album, which I think in today's market in a record store is really good. So I'm going to get started with them. And first one I want to show you is this. It's a British import, 2-record set called Formula 30. It's weird because it's got famous people on it. Most of these don't. This has, here, I'll show you the back and you can actually maybe freeze it and see what's on there, maybe. It's got the Rolling Stones and the Moody Blues and Rod Stewart and Jeff Beck and Dire Straits and whole lots of people on here. And the thing is, I think I had this album a long time ago and I sold it, and if it's the same one, there's an alternate version, whether it's live on the BBC or what, I can't remember, of Dire Straits' Sultans of Swing, and it was really good, and I'm hoping this is the album. It's a 2-record set, and again, this was even less than $2.50 actually. There's your one side of your jacket, and the other side, I guess I can pull back. And I don't know, it's a cool thing for a British import. It's awesome. So pick that up definitely. Flipside CT Steve has talked about this album. I have the 12-inch from it. I finally picked up the album today, The Inmates' First Offense. Definitely a great sort of garagey, punky, late 70s kind of album. They did, of course, they covered Dirty Water by the Standells, and The Walk is my favorite, the Jimmy McCracklin blues tune. And I'm looking forward to the rest of it. I have heard it before, but it's been a really long time. For a really cheap price, I had to complete my Go-Go's collection. They only made 3 albums. This is the 3rd one. In my youth, I thought it was their best. Now I'll probably wind up thinking it's their least. But anyway, it's the Go-Go's Talk Show album. I always like the cover. Here's the back cover. You got to turn it sideways to get a good grip or a good look at it. And I'll show you the label for a second because it's got a custom label on both sides. Can you see that? And it's in really nice shape, and it was really cheap. Had to pick this up. I got a lot of Irish friends, and for some reason, the Irish people are really into Smokey. Of course, this is the album that has their hit Living Next Door to Alice on it. They had another Smokey album too, but I thought I'd just get this one and see if I care about the other one, if it's still there next time I go. But Smokey, Midnight Cafe. I was so saddened by this man's passing. Stan Freberg, This one is A Child's Garden, and I'm looking forward to hearing this. I'm a huge Stan Freberg fan, and we'll be playing some of this on my podcast, I guarantee it. As I will of this, I've never seen this before. The Gift of Laughter, the best of Stan Freberg Volume 2 on Rhino. I collect Rhino Records, and it's so rare that I don't know a Rhino record, and I don't know this album. So, and it's still in shrink, and that's really awesome. It's got its little left the price stickers on it, and that's really cool. And I wanted to show you, by the way, I forgot. I wanted to show you the label on the other Stan Freberg, because it's got my favorite capital label that's on a lot of Sinatra records with the little line going down the middle saying long playing high fidelity. I love that label. Alright. I also love Wanda Jackson, the many moods of Wanda Jackson. And then a few Wanda Jackson. I don't love her country stuff and her gospel and all of that. I like it, but I don't love it. But she always tried to sneak a couple in, even on her country albums. And this one's got Memphis, Tennessee on it, and Covering the Monkees, I'm a Believer, and I look forward to hearing that by Wanda. And I left it open. It's on Capitol, the straight rainbow Capitol label. And most of these records are in really nice shape. I couldn't pass this up, even though I think I have most everything on it. The Mercy Beats Beat. It's a British import on Edsel. And it's got most of what you'd want by the Mercy Beats on it. It's got Really Mystified and their version of Wishing and Hoping. I Stand Accused. I love the Mercy Beats, who later turned into the Mercies. And George Harrison could tell you all about those. Them. Is that the right word? And those of you that know the story of It's All Too Much know what I'm talking about. This was, I thought, fantastic. The Byrds, the best of the Byrds. And does the cover look a little weird? It's a British import on CBS Records. And again, it's in really nice shape. There's the CBS label. And this was less than my 350, as was both the Stan Frebergs. Eartha Kitt. I love Eartha Kitt. Anybody that knows me knows I love Eartha Kitt. Revisited. And this is a cool album because it's on Mode Discs. It's a French LP. And not only is it French, it's old. It's got the fold down covers, slats here. Slats. This is a really old, cool label and a record. And I did want to show the label on this one. It is definitely a French record. About a third of the songs are actually in French because she sang a lot in French. I'm looking forward to hearing that as well. And When in Spain, Cliff Richard in the Shadows. This is the first thing I have on LP with the Shadows on it at all. I have a few 45s. Just not widely available in America. And so I'm dealing with the Cliff Richard part just to hear some Shadows. And again, this is a British import. I think it's British. It might be French. It's too dark in here for me to read it. But here's the label. It's on Columbia Records. And again, really old in mono. It's got the foldbacks. This is a really old record. And Twist with Bobby Darin in stereo on Adco. I love Bobby Darin, and there's a lot of really good stuff on here. I think that Adco put this out as a contractual obligation kind of thing, like the back cover even. And this thing is in really nice shape. And this one the guy threw in. It's one of the things that helped me bring my price down. I'm going to be doing a Halloween podcast, my first one ever. So I picked this up. It was cheap, and depending on what's on it, maybe I can use it for the music I usually play, talk over sound effects instead of music. I don't know, put it between tracks, whatever. Ghostly sound effects in stereo on Power Records. And last one for today. I'd never seen this, and this looks really good. An Austin Rhythm and Blues Christmas on Austin Records. It's got fabulous Thunderbirds. Luann Barton is on here. Charlie Sexton is on here. This has a potential to be a really good Christmas record. And I'm going to be doing a new Christmas show, so I couldn't pass that up. Okay, that's it for today's finds. Now I have gathered some other things over the past few weeks, so I thought I'd show those, including a couple of Record Store Days 45s. I got Simon & Garfunkel's Homeward Bound's 45. I bought it fairly cheap, and it's still sealed, and until I need it, it'll stay sealed. Put that up there. And I keep hearing the Lemonheads version of this is really good, so I got it. I got the Graham Parsons Lemonheads back-to-back brass button Record Store Day issue on pink vinyl with a brass button. I mean, my brass button is kind of big. Most of them are much smaller than that. But there you go. I also picked up, along the way, Howlin Wolf, Change My Way. This is sort of a greatest hits, I believe. But I picked it up because it's the only album I could find with my favorite Howlin Wolf song, Hidden Charms, is on this record. And again, I want to play that on my podcast. I do a podcast. Did I mention that? The Everly Brothers Greatest Hits. I have a lot of Everly Brothers Greatest Hits compilations. This one is made in Portugal. On the cheap. I'm hoping the records don't sound bad. It's got pretty much everything you want by the Everly Brothers on it. You can like freeze that and see. And that is a sticker on the back. They didn't even print the song titles. They just put a sticker on it. Giant instrumentals of rhythm and blues, and I'll hold that up so you can maybe read the titles on that too. This is on Imperial Records, and this looks to be some really good stuff. I got this really cheap online, I think, for what it is. The Rolling Stones Goat Head Soup. I needed a copy. I don't have a copy. There's the what's in? Close. There's the gatefold. Is on Rolling Stones Records. And it does come with the Goat's Head Soup insert. So this was under $5. So I think this was an awesome deal. I just thought this was interesting, and it's got one of my favorite doo-wop songs on it. High Lit presents Collector's Gold, 24 tracks. It's all doo-wop kind of stuff on collectible records. It's a 2-record set. This was about $5 too, actually. And it's a 2-record set on gold vinyl. Both records are gold. And it's got Trickle Trickle by The Videos, and that is maybe my favorite all-time doo-wop song. So that'll be going on my podcast. This was cheap, and I couldn't pass it up, especially since I believe it's autographed. This is Greatest Hits and by the Dance Party by the Dovells, but it's a reformed Dovells. It looks like the 70s to be judging by the back cover. So I haven't played it yet. I'll give it a listen and see if it's any good at all. But it's an interesting artifact anyway. I love these things. The Lost Leader albums put out by Warner Brothers. One's just called Menu. It's got 2 records on it. Long John Baldry, LaBelle. Pretty sure the Kinks are on here. Jackie Lomax, Randy Newman, Fanny, the Beach Boys, Ry Cooder, John D. Lauderdale, Bonnie Millsap, all kinds of people on here. These things are like $3. You sent away, Warner Brothers, and not much to look at in the gatefold. It's got a book. Oh, I like these things when I can pick them up cheap. And the typical Warner Brothers label. Really nice shape. Really nice shape. It looks brand new. And I got a couple of Russian albums. Paul McCartney's Tug of War from Russia. The cover is very flimsy, and you can see it's nothing like either the American or the European cover. It's very cheaply made with just a few colors, and the label's even, if I can get it out, label's even kind of worse. I have not played this yet. I do not know about sound quality. There's the other side of the label. Just an oddity, and it wasn't very expensive. And me being such a McCartney fan, I had to pick up a Russian. I have Flowers in the Dirt Russian too. Now I have this one and the McCartney album Russian. And the back of this one is just sort of yellow, black and white. Not white, just yellow and black. Can't get much simpler than that. And no gatefold or anything. And there's your label on that one. So I'm looking forward to giving those two a spin. Might even review one of them. Who knows? And lastly, for the McCartney, I've never had this. The Steve Anderson remixes of Hope of Deliverance. Here, I'll put that close. The Deliverance single. It's got Deliverance on one side, Deliverance dub, and I'm assuming the album version of Hope of Deliverance is the other track. Hope you guys can read sideways, upside down and stuff. But there you go, Hope of Deliverance. And I've never had this. Even on CD, I've never had this. So I've never actually heard the mix. So I'm looking forward to that. There's a local movie show from a town or two over called The Dark Vault of Public Domain. If you're ever bored, look him up on the internet. And there's a guy that plays movies and shorts and cartoons and things. But he throws in videos. And lately at the end, he's been throwing in some amazing videos. He threw in a Cook and Jones from the Sex Pistols video, a Stiff Little Fingers video, and a video by the Beast of Bourbon, who I'd never heard of, doing Psycho. The old, can't think of it. Leon Payne wrote it. Elvis Costello covered it. A few other people have covered it. And I like their version best. I always thought Costello's was best. But no, these guys, and I did have to pay for this album. I could only find about 10 of them in the world on sale on the whole internet. It's a pretty rare album. I barely released in America, if it ever was. I haven't heard it yet, but I am looking forward to it. Dark, sort of, almost rockabilly without the rockabilly. Goth rockabilly, maybe. I am looking forward to that. Dr. Dell was showing some of these one day, and I had to pick one up. And I might review this one day, too. The Young Sound 68. This is a bunch of instrumentals. There's a couple of famous people on it, but I can't remember the names, to be honest. But I want to check it out. It's right up my alley. Cheesy, psyche kind of stuff. And this copy is still sealed. So if I ever do review it, I'll have to do like 2 videos or something, because unless I figure out how to edit. Because I'd like to do a sealed or revealed on it too if I do it. But anyway, the Young Sound 68. The Ramones, Rocket to Russia, the new Rhino vinyl reissue. This I might definitely review. Now we're into the albums that I really sort of am thinking about reviewing. And this might be one of them. Trying to finish up my Ramones collection. which is only like the first few albums for me. By the mid-80s, 85, I'm pretty much over them. And same thing here, might do a review of this. Still sealed. That is fairly cheap for what it is. A new edition of the Pixies, Doolittle. Has my favorite Pixies song on it. I know I'm a hits guy, unfortunately, but Here Comes Your Man is on this album, and I love that song. That will be on my podcast one of these days. A recommendation from Matt Sands, and I thought I would give it a try. I have not opened it yet. I cannot even remember what this is called. New Electric Ride by Balloon Age, or vice versa. If I got that wrong. Let me see here. I think the band is the New Electric Ride. It's been a while since I've seen your video, Matt. I'm sorry about that. But you said this was really interesting, and I got it fairly cheap, and I'm really looking forward to giving it a spin. And again, maybe reviewing it. It's on my list. Another Dr. Dell. Sort of the best of the animated egg. It's a new vinyl, 2-record set. And again, I think this kind of stuff, along with the new sounds of '68, is right up my alley. And I'll probably will do a review of this. This is on Sunday's Records. Still sealed right now, and looking forward to it. Couple more here. I know this album, the Merry-Go-Round Live, Emmett Rhodes' first and only merry-go-round album besides the greatest hits that Rhino put out. I have an original copy, so I want to review this and compare the two, but my original copy is not minty by any means, so I'll be interested to see, having a really nice minty fresh copy. This is sealed as well, if they did a good job on this, and which is better, and have some recommendations. Another Sunday's album. My favorite sort of unknown Roy Orbison track is on this album, Crying. And originals are going for crazy money. So I bought the reissue. I went for it. It's on Wax Time Records. I hope it's okay. They threw on like 4 bonus tracks, I think. But right there, Dance. That is an incredible song, and I love that song. So, the reissue, I'll show you the back of this one. The reissue of Roy Orbison's Dance. And I definitely want to do a review on this as well. Couple more here. Oh, I love this album. I finally got it on vinyl. The Stone Roses, their first album. And it is on Silvertone Records. And finally, 180 gram vinyl. They did it as a 2-record vinyl, and I just am looking forward to playing this. Still sealed. I haven't gotten to it yet, but I will, and I definitely will review the first Stone Roses album. Shoot You Down is one of my favorite songs. And last but not least, I went for the Rolling Stones Sticky Fingers reissue. And this might be my first album review. I'm dying to crack it open, hear how it sounds. I don't own this album in any form, so I can't compare it to anything. But I'm hoping that it's better than the late 80s and 90s pressings. It should be, but I think it's digital, so I'm not sure. And there is a bonus disc. Maybe you can see the songs on it if I do that. Side 2 is live, and side 1 is is studio outtakes. Dead Flowers is on this album, another one of my favorite Rolling Stone songs. But I will say one thing about the vinyl before I even review it is there's one more track on the CD, Midnight Rambler Live. They took it off the vinyl, probably for space, I would think. But anyway, you don't get that with the vinyl. There you go. It's got the zip. And I don't know if you can see this. There's this little plastic strip in here that protects other albums and things from the zipper. And I've always been told to put the zipper down once you open it, and because it's on the label and not the record if anything should happen. And there you go, the Rolling Stones, Sticky Fingers, an album I definitely want to review. Well, that about does it for me and my new releases, recent finds. I hope you enjoyed the video. I rushed it as fast as I could. Again, like and subscribe and all of that nice stuff. Leave me comments. How are you guys doing, by the way? Hope you're all well. I hope everybody is just having a good time. Rained here today. I had to drive home in some of the worst rain I've driven in a while. But I'm good. I hope you're all good. Check out my podcast, the Snap, Crackle, and Pop Vinyl Hour, at snapcracklepop.podomatic.com. And thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.